Hey, hello, welcome, welcome. I'm very excited today. We've got a special pre-playing your bigger game training session with Adele, who I'm going to introduce properly to you at the moment. But say Adele, say hello, Adele, because then the camera comes to you.
Hi Karen, great to see everyone here. Really,
Yeah.
really pleased to be spending time and chatting with you before our big event on Friday.
Yeah, no, it's good. So we're going to have a discussion this morning. Some of you are joining live, so there's a couple of you. Lou is here, Caroline is here. I know most people. I kind of sprung this onto you on the last minute, and I didn't think many people would be able to make it live. But we're recording, so you can listen to the recording and hopefully listen to this before you come along today on Friday. So we've got a really awesome day. Well, I would say that because I'm running it, but it's going to be an awesome day on Friday about playing big, and we're going to be doing. Well, I'm going to be sharing. There's three core training sessions plus an extra little one at the end, looking about more the practical logistics side about stepping up in our business, from the marketing systems. We're going to look at the money side, but where I'm moving towards in my business is that I've got a real structure forming in place, and in the heart of it all, and the real heart of it, is our values and what we stand for and our vitality. And for those of you who don't really know my story, although I think most of you do, is in a kind of a very, very brief nutshell, is that I started up in my own business. It was going back 14 years ago now, and it all went really well. But I hit a real big wall back in 2012. It was 2 years after I lost my dad to quite horrendous cancer of 18 months it was previously. And I literally hit the adrenal fatigue wall, and it's taken me a long while to accept that actually did happen. I was kind of in a bit of denial. Was it menopause? Was it perimenopause? Was it anything? But actually, I literally just hit the wall, and I had to seriously re-engineer my business. But what has happened in particularly the last 2 or 3 years is realizing that it's okay re-engineering my business and making my business model work better for me. But if I'm not fixing my inner health and fixing my vitality, and making sure that was being fully supported, then really anything that I was doing to build my business up, I would just be going on to work harder mode, work harder mode, work harder mode. So this is why it's becoming more and more core to what I'm teaching, is that inside outside approach to business growth. And this is why I'm really pleased Adele, who we worked with last year together in the academy, and Adele, when I first started working with Adele, she was a full-time Pilates teacher, been in health and fitness for many years. You wouldn't know it looking at Adele now, obviously, but had literally a full-time Pilates business. And you're going to hear more about her story because she's going to take part in the panel session after lunch on Friday as well. But really we're sort of bringing her on today with her expertise, because over the last year and a half, she's gone from full-time Pilates business and an online course selling some health and fitness stuff, to actually having a full online brand, Get Gorgeous, becoming and stepping into a true power as a health coach and claiming that title and owning that she is so much more than just teaching Pilates with a bit of health and well-being thrown in. Really starting to own her space, and she's got some really strong opinions about how we need to look after ourselves, both as men and women of all different ages and shapes and sizes. She doesn't believe in diets, and she's got some really interesting stuff to share. So Adele, welcome.
Thank you, Karen. That was lovely.
Good. I'm glad I got the introduction right, like ticking off my things. But yeah, I'm really delighted that she's been part of the playing your bigger game experience. So first thing, there's going to be 3 things that Adele's going to be sharing with her, 3 pillars: eating, exercise, and mental health. But to kick off the session, Adele, not only do you still have your Pilates business, although it's not full time. You've changed it around to make space for Get Gorgeous. So you've got 2 businesses. You've got 3 kids, and I know you've got a husband in there as well to boot somewhere. I'm sure he gets some of your attention. What do you do to keep your vitality going?
Yeah, well, I follow the rules that I've set out. I make sure that I schedule my exercise, I follow easy nutrition, and I make sure that my mind is in a really good place. So I embody what I teach, and make sure that I've practiced on myself over 20 years. before I offer it out to my clients. So my story is pretty similar to you. I did hit a wall as well. I had a very successful Pilates business. I love teaching Pilates. It's my bread and butter. And I got to the stage where we had one child, and I wanted, but I couldn't get pregnant. I suffered from fertility issues, and it happened years and years, and it sent me down a whole nutritional path route that made me sort of step and look back at how I'd been leading my life, basically. And I had my Pilates business, and it just kept me sane. I'm so pleased I had it, because teaching it forced me to take a step back, if that makes sense. Because of the nature of the business, it allowed me to slow down, to concentrate on my physical body, my mindset as I was teaching, and it got me through. It got me through some really, really hard stages in my life. So I am incredibly grateful to that. But I got to the stage where I got it sorted, and I launched 2-3 years ago now, Get Gorgeous, which is my online platform, which, as you so cleverly said, moved me from a business into a brand. And I would like to emphasize to all the entrepreneurs out there that it doesn't just start with setting up all the techie stuff and getting that all right. You have to sort of sit back and realize where you're going next and trust the process. And so I follow your story, and I agree, and I'm on the same wavelength. I'm doing all the stuff that I need to do. I'm making sure that all my marketing is in place, and then I have to have that approach of just stepping back and relaxing and letting it happen. And I encapsulate it by doing lots of things for my mind. I make sure my nutrition is good, and I really schedule my exercise.
Well, let's start. What do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about exercise first, or do you want to talk about eating?
No, exercise is good.
Why don't we talk about exercise first? Because you said it. I was just about to ask you a question about eating, and then you just mentioned exercise there. And I know this is obviously one of your core things.
Well, it is my thing, but I don't want to come across as one of these people that I'm not stick thin. What I'm interested in is being strong. I didn't start off being fit and gorgeous. I started off being gorgeous and rather plump, very plump. And I had a childhood where my sisters were all quite skinny, and their trousers never stayed up. Well, mine stayed up quite well. I was quite a chunky monkey. I was quite sort of and I could see at a really early age that I was different from the rest of my family. And that kind of set a mindset going for me. It's what you are, it's what you have to accept. But I'm not saying it was entirely positive. It's just the way that you are. My dad used to say to me, "Oh, you're thunder thighs." And what I didn't appreciate was that I'm a different body type to my sisters. So my sister might be a long, skinny ectomorph, and I'm more of an endomorph, which means that I take on muscle quite bigger. But you don't realise any of that when you're a kid. All you know is your thunder thighs.
Yeah.
So I didn't start off.
Yeah. So with exercise, and I think exercise is always, because I go through, and I suppose I'm typical to most people of my age, is that I like exercise when I'm feeling fit and healthy. But when I haven't been exercising very well, it's the last thing I want to do. I'm actually going through, and I'm back on my yoga and back on my running again. But I'm a real yo-yo exerciser. But I do know absolutely, and I'm sure all of us can agree, exercise and moving our bodies is critical, particularly when you are looking at your business growth and you're spending a shed load of time in front of the computer, in front of things like this. And this is where a lot of my tension comes from, because it's all around the keyboard and sitting at desks for so long, particularly if you're doing a lot of stuff online. So what kind of exercises could I say normal? There's the old air apostrophes in the air. Where do not, because there's no such thing as normal people. But, do you know what I mean? Where would normal people? How would normal people fitting it in a busy stepping up the business? What kind of exercise should we be doing? Yeah. And how often should we be doing it?
Well, the very bare minimum is 10,000 steps a day, and that is coming out of all the research. You know, lots of people go back and they try and test research, but basically a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. I've got my Fitbit on. Minimum that you should be doing, getting up, scheduling your exercise, well, the way I do it is I get up very early. I'm doing the book proposal at the moment with Alison Jones. I'm working an hour's think time, then I'm scheduling an hour's exercise, then I've got another half an hour's exercise when I take the kids to school, and my diary is diarised with my exercise. So that's the first thing I want to say. But there are 3 fundamental things that you should be doing for your exercise. As you said, rounded shoulders, that leads to something called kyphosis, rounded shoulders, slackening of the upper back muscles. You need your chest muscles to strengthen your upper back. Pilates, it's the answer. Funny I should. But Pilates is interested in 2 main things. It's interested in your shoulder stability and your abdominal strength. Now, you'll notice with most Pilates instructors, their abdominals are strong, but they're also flat because they're working with 3 different types of muscles. 3 is my lucky number, but it's the deep abdominal, it's the 6-pack, and it's the obliques, and all of those need to be worked as well as your shoulders, and that's what Pilates encompasses. But you can't stick with just Pilates. You have to have strength exercise, especially as I hit the menopause. The big thing that we've got to do is weight bearing exercise. It's not just about your muscle and your muscle tone, it's about your body and it's about your bone strength. Osteoporosis is something that filters through my family, and bone strengthening is the thing that you need to do. It's something that can be avoided through exercise and nutrition, but exercise is the main thing. So you need your core strength, your postural alignment that comes through Pilates. You need your cardio work, 10,000 steps, getting that into a run and getting 20 minutes out of breath 3 times a week. Fantastic. But you also need weight bearing exercise. So there's 3 elements that all need to go into your exercise routine. Now, I know you're going to say, well, how on earth do I get that?
I was just about to go, I bet you there's people listening going, yeah, okay, how on earth am I going to fit that? It's all very well for you because it's in your blood, but how would...
But that's what I was trying to say, because it never started in my blood.
Yes.
But it's a vicious circle. I mean, your business, and it could be a vicious circle, or it could be a positive one, and this is where the mindset comes in. Because if you're not exercising, you're not getting your brain working, you're not getting your oxygen to your muscles, but also to your brain. So if they've done more research to say that if you're going out at lunchtime and you're having half an hour walk, 20 minutes quite fast, then you are going to be more productive in your afternoon session. So if you, as an entrepreneur, as a woman in business, as a man in business, think about your productivity. If you're not exercising, you're not being as productive as you can. So there's the positive circle.
There's the hook, and I think this is it. I mean, I do know the days that I will sit at my desk from 8:30 to when I go and pick up one of the kids up from school or whatever at 5 o'clock, and I might have just stopped off, you know, and then there will be some days, I'm sure other people admit to this as well, that you actually haven't even gone to the loo for 4 hours because it's all been like, I know, but
schedule it.
I know, it's exactly scheduling and pee breaks. But you know, when I compare days like that, and I compare days where I do literally go, right, every 45 minutes, I've got to move, even if it's just getting up and walking around the house once and then taking a proper break. The difference in productivity is, I mean, there's just no comparison. Absolute comparison. But it is so easy for us to be in that, I've got to work harder, I haven't got time to take a break, I haven't got time to do this because I've got to hit all these deadlines. Actually, what you're saying is it's been scientifically proven that our productivity will go down if we don't take time to move. And even just going for a walk around the block once a day, you know, it's a start. It gets the body feeling like it's moving, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the other thing is, if you start your day in a positive way, you're going to stay positive throughout the day. I mean, your positivity is higher in the morning, your intentions are higher in the morning, your good intentions. So if you start the day, if you can figure out how to get to work or get the kids to school or whatever it is you do, if you can figure out how to include exercise into that, that's going to set you up for the rest of the day, because you're in a great frame of mind to eat healthier, to follow your routine more, and you're setting yourself up for positive, rather than saying, oh well, I'll grab a coffee and a jam donut and that will be me. And then, you know, you can see the cycle down. So for me, schedule your time at the beginning of the week. On a Sunday night, you prep what you're going to eat during the week. You think, all right, maybe you don't prep it, but you think it through, and you think through when you're going to be doing your exercise. That's the first thing that I do on my coaching calls with my clients. I said, right, how are you going to schedule your week this week? When is your exercise going to be in? Talking it through and just pinpointing the times that they're going to exercise and how they're going to put it in. I'm a massive believer on online exercise. Actually driving to a gym, getting to a gym and then driving back. That's what, 3 hours? If you've got something you can pull up on your video at home, a DVD or online, 45 minutes, bang, done, on to the next thing.
Yeah. In fact, anybody who wants any quick videos, what's your Facebook page under?
Adele Get Gorgeous.
Right, okay, so look up Adele Get Gorgeous on Facebook, and she's done a ton of really cool videos, honestly. I often find myself watching as I'm sitting here eating my jam donut. No. But they are very, very good. Oh my goodness me!
Excellent. Well, I try and mix them up. I try and do Pilates. I try and do 10 minutes. I'll do half an hour. I mix it in with cardio. I try and mix it up so that everybody's got something that they can choose from and something that they can.
No, it's very good. So go and have a look at those videos, because if you want to get going, it's a really good way of actually getting off Facebook, but not going on to Facebook on a different device and going in a different room and just doing 10 minutes of one of Adele's videos.
Well, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I put them all up on there on my vlogs as well. So that means you don't have to go anywhere near Facebook, because that's Facebook.
Right, we're going to talk about eating next, but if any of those are live, we've got Carol, Caroline, Lou and Tracy here. Hello. If you've got any questions you want to ask, there is a chat box. I've got you all on mute at the moment just for recording purposes, but if anybody's got any questions about what we're discussing here, go into the chat box and we'll either answer it, talk about it, or we can bring you on. If you've got a mic, we can bring on the questions. So just let you know there's a chat there. So eating, this is your second pillar. Eating habits. What kind of eating habits should we be thinking about to fuel ourselves when we have got a business that we are growing and building?
Well, I think the answer's in the question, habits. If you make simple habits like drinking water, that will encourage your whole metabolism. It'll keep you fresh. It'll keep you active. It'll keep you going to the loo.
Keep you peeing, exactly. Nothing like getting a few extra steps.
So it's bringing in good nutrition via habits, rather than trying to do a massive overhaul straight away, which is what diets try and get you to do. If you can introduce small nutritional habits on a weekly, or take 2 weeks for a good habit to really embed, then that's the best way to do it. So I would ask you, first of all, to concentrate on your water. Spend a week or 2 weeks on water, drinking 8 glasses of water, but that's not going to happen straight away. I know, because of the people that I work and the ladies that I coach. So you have to build it up. But then after you've embedded that, you then move on to your next nutritional habit, which is increasing your protein and then increasing your fat intake. This is all scary stuff. This is all contrary to what the diet books are telling us at the moment, and decreasing your carbohydrates and eating starchy carbs after exercise. Now, I know that I'm blowing a few people's brains, but I just want to say that within the next 2, 3, maybe 5 years, nutrition as we know it is going to turn completely round. I don't believe, and a lot of the nutritionalists that I work with believe that you need to count calories anymore. You don't even need to be watching what you're eating. You will feel satiated, you will feel happy if you eat the right foods. And the right foods come down to something as simple as increasing your protein intake. Women in particular don't have enough amino acids. Amino acids, essential amino acids, come from a complete protein. A complete protein can be animal fats, or they can be a vegetarian source, but the vegetarian source has to be with a grain. But knowing that I know, I'm sorry, I'm being too detailed, but I just want to get across that women aren't eating enough good quality protein. If you do that, if you start eating enough protein, your iron levels will go up, you'll start to feel less tired. Now,
so
I know
if you, what and this is a question that's coming into my head, is that lunchtime, it's very easy to for those of you who work from home, I do in my downstairs office, I've got the kitchen next door, and you know, when you're at home by yourself and you haven't got a nice pret-a-manger to go and choose a nice salad in or something like that,
good.
Yes. But you go into the kitchen, you literally get 2 slabs of bread, put a bit of cheese in the middle, and that's your lunch. Exactly. Adele goes into frenzied shock. So what quick and easy protein lunches could you recommend for us?
Cheese salad.
Cheese salad, okay. She said it sounds so easy. Yes.
Well, it is easy.
Yeah.
It is easy. I mean, I've got a massive roast on a Sunday night. I've done cycling, or I've exercised on Sunday with the kids, so I'm having a big roast on a Sunday night. I've got chicken left over, so chicken salad for the next day. And I even when I'm teaching, I will teach 3 Pilates classes a day. So I'll start off my morning with a protein eggs, or I'll even have bacon, saturated fat bacon. Don't go too far, Adele. Don't scare everybody too much. But porridge with nuts and seeds on it. That's a protein breakfast. And then I will have cheese and apple. Do you remember those days? Cheese and apple. That's what my mum used to give me. Cheese and apple as a snack between classes. And then I'll have lunch. I can't show you my lunches because they are a mush. But basically, I've got avocado mushed up with hummus, chicken, salmon, whatever's in the fridge, loads and loads of salad, and that will sustain me through 3 classes and a run.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you to try it. Just try. I was talking to a cancer nurse about this, and she came up with the revelation. She said to me, because carbohydrates raise your glycemic index, they produce insulin, so then you have an insulin dump, you get tired, you need more, you drop more, and that's why we're counting calories, because we're eating and dropping all the time. But if you eat fats and proteins, you don't lift the glycemic index, you will have sustained energy, even energy, and you will fat burn, purely because you're making sure that your body is metabolizing constantly rather than up and down. So the cancer nurse that I was talking to, she said, that's why I feel hungry after a cheese sandwich and I don't feel hungry after a cheese salad.
Yeah, and I think that's a real shift, certainly for me, because I think a lot of it is how we are perceiving what the food is giving us. But actually giving it a go, but it changes the whole idea.
Because we're all told that carbohydrates give you energy. Whereas a fat is actually got more energy dense than a carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So 10 grams of carbohydrates have got less calories than 10 grams of fat and 10 grams of protein. So that's why everybody's saying, well, have carbos, because they're less calories. But carbos, you're eating more throughout the day. So you're eating 5-6 times as much. But if you have proteins and fats, you don't have to eat as much.
Yeah.
Try it.
Do you know what? I am going to try, because I think that is more me. I've just got into it's a habit. It's a habit of always thinking, even if I have a salad, I'll put some croutons in, because I feel like, I know. But, it's good. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Right, any questions anybody's got here live, please put them in there. So let's talk about mental health. And again, I can't even say which one's more important, because I think this is where you've got your 3 pillars, haven't you? Exercise, eating, and mental health. And they all they are all just as important, just as stable. And mental health and how we are thinking about ourselves. I've already just admitted that, they're thinking about not having carbohydrate at lunch. That's just a mind thing, actually, rather than a physical thing. So I'm going to start thinking how I can shift that. But in your opinion, how linked is mental health with entrepreneurial success?
Oh, brilliant. Wow. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're incredibly driven. You kind of push yourself really, really hard. And if you don't take the time to look at how you're driving yourself and put the pillars behind you, you're not going to succeed. I mean, I feel that my business, and obviously your business, is an organic part of ourselves. The one thing that our business is relying on is us. So if we don't have perfect health, I don't think my business is going to have perfect health. If I haven't got enough energy, and when I say perfect, I'm not looking for an ideal, but I need to sleep well, I need to eat well, I need to be on top form, I need to drink well, water, so that my brain is ready to swap from one decision to another to whatever I'm working with. And I think the whole key to that is knowing yourself and knowing the way that you work. And understanding yourself more. And mental health, when you're always criticizing yourself, oh, I ate that donut, I'm a complete disaster, I might as well go and eat another donut. Well, it's negative self-belief, and then it becomes another cycle of negativity. But if you start the day well, you have a good breakfast, you have that positivity, your day starts in a different way, and you talk to yourself in a different way, and that becomes another cycle.
Yeah, and I think this is it. It's when we are working by ourselves, on our own. A majority of the time, yes, we can go to events like you're coming to on Friday, and this is why it's so important to get out and talk to people. But majority of our times, we are often we might be working with clients, but it's the odd phone call here and there. We haven't got the water cooler talk that we've got back in the corporate days, and that's one thing I probably do miss in corporate life, was hanging around the photocopying machine, pretending to do photocopying, and actually just having a natter. And when we are by ourselves by so much, it's really easy to let our head do too much of the talking, isn't it? And if we're not fueling ourselves properly, and we're not moving our bodies enough, that's, I suppose, when the inner critics really do start to speak very loudly to us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed with inner critics, when I set this business up, the online business, I thought, well, this is easy. All I've got to do is supply the exercise at a time that everybody suits everybody, supply the nutritional thinking. This is a big revolution, and that's it. Job done, sorted, ka-ching.
Yes.
And it didn't happen. And I thought, well, what's going on? And it's because there's a story. There's a story, and there is a trigger. Somewhere along our lives, somebody has said something to us which has made us believe that we haven't got the self-worth. We can be fantastic at our jobs. We can be these amazing business people, really, really good entrepreneurs. But are we worth having everything? Can I have the self-worth in business and have the self-worth with my body and who I am? And yes, you can. But there seems to be this, and I've noticed that through experience, there seems to be some sort of block that people have. I want to keep saying women because that's who I work with, so forgive me, boys, but we tend to overanalyze things, and we're caught up on something, and I found that one of my jobs as a coach is to make sure I go not deep and delve, but find out what the emotion was, release that emotion, bring awareness to that emotion, and let it go.
Yeah.
And then the nutrition and the exercise falls into place. But there seems to be this whole, your business is great, your business is good, and that identifies me. Well, your identification can also be about the way that you look and the way that you present yourself, and by being healthy and the best that you possibly can to take us into the next 40 to 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had this really, in fact, just talking about the next 40 or 50 years, how am I now? I'm going to be 48 this summer. And I made this conscious decision not so long ago. I went away on a retreat and it was focusing on vitality. And had this real strong connection that I'm going to live to 100. I don't know where it came from, but I was like, that is it. I have decided I'm not even halfway through my life yet. I've got to get my body in shape and really tune into what my vitality is representing for myself. Because if I've got another 50 years to go, this body where it is at the moment is not going to take it there.
Exactly.
So I suddenly went, no, this is it. And I don't even know how it came back. It was just suddenly, that's it. I'm living to 100. Right, bejeebers, things are going to change.
And can I just interject quickly? And isn't that interesting how you've suddenly had a surge in your exercise? Because you have a long-term goal, because you know that things are going to go, you know, your exercise, you have created the mindset and the awareness, your long-term objective have set, so therefore the exercise fell into place. It's happened.
Well, interesting. Well, the exercise has fallen in place because I've stopped pushing it. So there was some very interesting stuff that came up on this retreat, that I was running because it was the push and drive in me. Because the reason I was running, I said, why are you running? Well, I like to be outside, I like to get muddy, I like the fresh air, listen to the birds sing, yada yada yada. Boom. When I really got down to it, it's because when I got back, my running app to prove to me how many kilometers, and I could share on Facebook. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to run like that. I do not want to run like that. And so it was a real wake-up call to make me realize I was exercising, even though it was good for me to exercise, obviously, but I had to literally, I went cold turkey, stop running. Can't do that. I need to change where I'm going at the moment because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Now I've pulled back on quite a lot of stuff. I've readdressed how I'm thinking about things, and I follow, and again, this is obviously a very female thing, monthly cycles, following my cycles much more now on energy flows and transference. I've naturally started running again, just as my energy cycle went back up again, without me setting a target for it. So I now run without my phone. All I run with is my friend. I don't even run with a Fitbit or anything like that. I don't count anything. I just run with a key in my back pocket and I just run. And when I come back when I'm tired.
Yeah.
And the difference in that running experience is I'm doing it because I need to feel good, not because my little app tells me that, oh, look at you, and you compete. Well, it's not that I compete with anybody else, but I was competing with myself. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to run a few more kilometers, before. Yeah. It's like, stop it, stop. And so that's why it's now flow back into it again, because my body now feels right now you're ready to go back to doing running again. Because I'm doing it because I want to run, not because my app is telling me that I've done so many kilometers.
Yeah, I mean that is a massive eureka moment. That is brilliant. I mean, I have always been outside running for my mental health. I don't need it for anything else. I've got my body. Your body is invested on staying as you are, your homeostasis. So I mean, I can go on holiday for 2 or 3 weeks and I'll gain a couple of pounds, but nothing much. It's pretty stable now, but I run purely because I want to get out there and my mental health, and it's the things that you notice, and I love being out really early in the morning, and I don't tell anyone because they all think I'm a nutter as it is, but to be outside at 6 or 7 in the morning, and the morning dew and the mist, it's rabbits.
So look, there's a really Tracy's actually asked a really good question about exercise, because we're just talking about running, and she can't run, bad knee issues. So I think this is a really good one actually to follow through. So let me point this to Adele now, Tracy. So Tracy's asked in the chat box, with regards to exercise, I hate swimming, allergic to chlorine, can't run, bad knee issues. I do Pilates, yoga, and walking. What else can I do to support my joints, as I get a lot of joint pain and stiffness? Is there any exercise that I can do at home that will help, or particular foods or supplements that you could recommend?
Well, I think, the first question, so it's Tracy, is that?
Yes, that's Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. I mean, the first thing I would ask is...
in fact, actually, Tracy, do you want to come on the line if I unmute you? And you can have a chat. There we go. She said yes. There we go. Hey, Tracy, have you got your headset there?
Can you hear me all right?
I can indeed, yes. So there you go. Right, have a conversation with Adele. Adele was going to ask you a question.
What's actually wrong with the knee? Is it something biomechanical, or is it tight quads?
I've got cartilage damage and all sorts of related problems.
Okay. Can I on my Pilates website, there was another article and more research about this, and people can be walking around with cartilage damage, meniscus tears, arthritis, and they suffer from no pain.
No, I've got all of those three, and I do have pain.
Okay, I'm not denying for 1 minute. I beg your pardon. I'm not denying for 1 minute that you're not. But what the other thing to consider is muscle imbalance. I'm just asking you to sort of think about this holistically, because there are people that walk around with meniscus problems and all sorts of problems in their joints and have no pain. So what that tells us is that muscle imbalance causes a lot more pain than what we think is quite serious. So making sure that you're on top of your technique with your posture and your Pilates. I heard you say you do Pilates.
Yes, I have one-to-one lessons.
Fantastic. So you keep that going, and you ask your one-to-one coach, what's your next step, what you can do next, because you're going to have to build it gradually. But anything that's going to get you outside and doing your steps is going to help to improve your cardiovascular and keep those quads nice and strong.
Okay.
In terms of supplements, I don't really, unless I got to know you really well, but I would just, keep up your dairy. I know everybody's really terrified of having dairy, but keeping that up for your bones and for your strength and your protein for your muscle strength.
No, I'm very much along do what you're saying with sort of cutting down carbs, having protein and animal fat and that sort of thing, because I've been working with a nutritionist around that as well, who is obviously has a very similar philosophy to you. So that the nutrition side of things makes sense to me. But what I find really discouraging, I suppose, is that I've been doing Pilates. Must be 10 months or so now. Been doing yoga for about 10 years, but it's just this constant stiffness. And I know that it's just as a result of all this sort of damage in my knees. But I wondered if there was kind of, additional stretches that you may have experienced with it.
I'd have to meet you, honey.
Well, I'll meet you on Friday.
I'll meet you on Friday.
I'll meet you on Friday. Bring your gym gear.
Oh my God.
And I'll have a look at your alignment. There's an answer, and I'm going to be really bold here, but I'm going to ask you as well to look at your mindset. I mean, are you fearful? Are you fearful about, obviously you have to have a biomechanical diagnosis, and as soon as that's off, as soon as that's sorted, looking at the size of your quads and if there's dystrophy from one thigh to the other, but putting that all to one side, assuming that that's all happened, you've got to, stepping out of your comfort zone and finding out what's really holding you back and what's making you fearful.
Okay. That's no.
But I just to follow this through, is that some of the stuff I've been doing to improve my vitality and health and fitness, a lot of it is actually I've done so many different things, but actually a lot of it has been shifting energy. I had an incredible kinesiology appointment not so long ago, and the energy that shifted from the grief that I was holding from my dad had the direct impact on my physicality of my body. And that has blown me away. And the more I read about, and I'm coming at this from a person who's having the treatment as an expert, so please don't take this as expert advice, but all I'm doing is I'm reading quite up about this transference of energy that we might have been holding into us, whether that's grief or stuff that's happened in the past. And it's had the grief that I've held in, which I didn't think I was, but I obviously have been, because I noticed those incredible shifts literally the 2 or 3 days afterwards. And it's had a direct impact on my posture and all my pelvic floor area. It has blown me away to what this kinesiologist has done. So it is really interesting how energy stuff that we hold within us, our psychological, mental how we feel about stuff can have a direct impact to how we are physically in our vitality, which ultimately then has an impact on our business. It's blown me away. So I would encourage have a exploration in that as well, Tracy.
Thank you, and thanks, Adele.
We'll definitely chat on Friday, and I will, because I can see quite quickly, if there is I can't give you a diagnosis, but I'll see if if your knees aren't aligned or your feet are, so you can work on that, but also work on what you're holding on to and the fear, because I speak to people, I see 250 women a day, men and women, not a day, a week, in my Pilates classes, and some people will come in completely dyspraxic, not being able to know where their hand is in relation to their arm and shoulder and things like that, and just constant practice and self-awareness and self-responsibility and body awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And you drive through it, you move through it to the next level. But it takes practice, it takes constant continuity, which I know is what you're doing. But there is an answer, there is a trigger. I don't disbelieve that for one moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. Yeah, by all means bring your gym gear, but I don't think Adele's suggesting for 1 minute that you're going to do an exercise class, so don't worry about that, Tracy. Please still come on Friday. No. So look, thank you very much, Tracy, for coming on. I'm going to mute you there and put you back on mute again. Brilliant. So you never know. At lunchtime, Adele might be doing a little bit of posture classing in the corner of the library. That would be fantastic. Here we go. I was just about to, Caroline has asked, my question is quite similar to Tracy's relating to weight-bearing exercises. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so weight work in gym isn't possible as my hand joints won't tolerate it. Can you recommend any other weight-bearing exercises that are kind to joints?
Well, aqua aerobics is perfect. Getting yourself in the water, because you are exercising and you're resisting against the water. But you're also being supported, which is the ironic thing. But it's really, really good. So you can do weight resistance in aqua aerobics. Get yourself over to an aqua aerobics class. I do my weights in my Pilates class, but I make sure that there are a certain weight, and then I encourage my customers to build up. But aqua aerobics is the answer for things like that, because it takes the pressure off your joints, but allows the muscles to work. And if you must have at least seen or tried, but they work with woggles and they work with the water resistance. So you're resisting the water. So you're using your muscle, but you're not actually putting any pressure on the joints. So that would be my answer for you.
Yeah. And something great, she's great. I'll give that a go. And something else I've just been introduced to by Linda, who's coming on Friday as well. And she's a yoga teacher. She's introduced me to a very good friend of hers who set up a drinks company around turmeric. And turmeric is very good for inflammation, isn't it? Anti-inflammatory. But turmeric is inherently difficult to absorb into our body. I'm teaching up there. Adele knows more of this stuff than I do. But there is an amazing, and I have two containers on the side, and I love it. And it's called Turmalicious. It's just down the road from Eden Farnham, and apparently she's stocking now in Holland and Barrett. And you have one of those a day. It's just like hot chocolate powder. There's chocolate flavour, there's chocolate chili, which is lovely if you like the chili flavour. And one of those a day within 2 or 3 months, they are recommending. It actually can make a big difference to any arthritic swelling of joints or anything. And it's they have its coconut fats in there, and it absorbs the turmeric. So have a look at Turmalicious. It's a really good drink to have.
Because the anti-inflammatory is really important, because the reason the nutrition world is changing is because we all felt that heart disease was all linked to fats, and now the research is coming out that heart disease is actually being linked to inflammatory issues, and that's basically because our diets are so full of processed foods and drinks.
Yeah.
So that, clean eating, I know it's all the rage, but basically all it means is cook your own food, make your own, steam your own veg, cook everything from scratch. You're going to reduce inflammation and all those different inflammatory diseases as well. And that's being associated with the heart disease we were attributing to eating too much saturated fat. Coconut oil, which everybody's talking at the moment, is a saturated fat.
Yeah.
So it's coming back in, but just through the back door in new packaging. But it's the same thing, you know, it's the same thing that we were eating, you know, 50 years ago. So I think the stigma for fat is going. The fats that we need to avoid are trans fats, and trans fats are the hydrogenated fats that are over processed, and that's why you know, factory made biscuits and cakes are so bad for you, because they're full of trans fats, which also raises your inflammation and things like that. So they're the fats that we want to avoid, but the other fats are absolutely fine.
I did notice there, just pick up anybody says, Adele specifically said factory made cakes and biscuits. So if you make your own.
Exactly. But
make your own cakes and you can have some.
But I always do. But I mean, the sugar content is there, but it's going to. But that goes back to mindset. Yeah. It goes back to mindset. If there is a chocolate cake that somebody's asking you that they've homemade, let's go. You know, why not? Why not? Know that it's going to raise your glycemic index. Know that you're going to have a bit of a drop afterwards. But telling yourself that you can't eat something, it's not going to help your mindset. Allowing yourself food, homemade food, bring it on. You know, you can go and do a little bit of exercise to burn it off, or whatever you want to do. But telling yourself you can't have something is setting you to fail.
Yeah. So look, this is a huge topic, and I'm going to leave Adele recommending we do one thing, but before we do that, is the whole point of this session was to introduce the pillars of vitality, and as we found out, you know, we could, you know, Adele could keep talking, and she probably literally could keep talking for the next month about this, because there is so much to learn, to take responsibility about our eating, our movement, and our exercise, and our mental health. You appreciate that it's just a massive topic, but I wanted to give this an important platform to get you to start thinking about what changes you might need to take, because not just for Friday, you know, great if you can make a couple of changes for Friday, but it is short notice. But, you know, it's not just what we're, you know, to get ready for Friday, but the changes that you're going to start making in your business as a result of coming for Friday. You know, there might be some things you have to start doing around what you're eating, around how you're moving and how you're exercising, and a way that you're dealing with your mental health. Because otherwise, you know, I can give you all the best marketing systems and the strategic advice and the logical outwardly side of marketing and business. But if you haven't got the vitality to put it into place and see it through, it's just, you're just going to go into that work harder mode that I was in many years ago, where it just burns you out. And funny enough, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, and you get hit sideways, and it all goes to put, which I wouldn't recommend you go through.
No.
So Adele, I'm going to leave you with the last bit, because I know you want to give everyone a bit of a challenge here, don't you?
Yeah, I love a challenge. So I've got my water challenge on my website, and I've got a walking challenge, 10,000 steps. But what are you going to do, whether it's exercising at lunchtime, whether it's 10,000 steps, whether you're going to mindset work, try a meditation app, but what one thing can you commit to yourself right now that you're going to not actually, well, put into practice, lovely, but what do you want to take that responsibility and do for yourself? I've got these little cards, and they say, they get gorgeous, and they say, because I said I would. Because you're the type of person that if you've said that you're going to do something, you follow it through. So if you take the time, write something down, I am committed to, and whatever it fits into your life, even if it's something really small that fits into your life, what's that commitment that you're going to do for yourself right now?
And I think, just to make this a bit of fun, I think everybody who's been able to listen to this, come and find Adele at some point during the day and tell her what you've committed to do. Adele would love to know, okay? And she'll just hold it. I mean, it's, you know, it's all it is to share it with her. But I think it would be really fun to go, right, find Adele, and it'd be a good excuse to come and talk to Adele. So I say, right, Adele, this is my one thing. And to start it off, the thing that comes into my mind is my one thing I'm going to do differently is to challenge myself that I can have lunch without the bread.
Great.
And that is going to be massive for me, I have to say, because it's just so I love bread. I could eat bread all day and every day, and that would be a real challenge for me. But whether I do that every day, I don't, I'm not going to get competitive about it. But my one thing is I'm going to challenge myself that when I go for lunch and I go into the kitchen, which I shall do as soon as this is finished because my stomach's growling now, I will go and see what I can make that does not involve carbohydrates.
Yeah, and that's the way to change.
That's my one thing.
Tiny little changes to your personal life, rather than trying to do a massive overhaul. How are you going to approach lunch?
Yes, and that's my thing. How am I going to approach lunch? Probably go to the kitchen and go, oh God, what have you got for me in the fridge? I go, right, come on. Even if it's just opening up a tin of tuna and eating out the tin, don't care. But that's my one thing.
Loads of salad. Perfect.
Yes. So I would like, so that's my public declaration for everybody coming to the Playing Your Bigger event game.
We'll bring in tins of tuna for Karen.
Yes, bring tins of tuna for Karen. No, don't do that. No. Everyone would think I've gone a bit very fishy. But yeah, but I would really love you to go and find Adele at some point on Friday. We are meeting from 9 o'clock. We've got tea and coffee before we start the day on 9:30. And then we've got a good hour's lunch, and then we've got an afternoon tea break as well, which there will be cakes and goodies and things like that. I can't say they're not factory made, they're certainly hotel made. I'm sure they'll be fine. But go and find Adele at some point in the day, and go and tell her what's the one thing. But you've heard my public declaration, so let's see what everyone else has got.
Yeah,
and it can be anything. It can be just, I'm going to get up and move and go for a 20-minute walk every lunchtime, or it whatever it is. Little
Small
things. Yeah, and this is exactly what I say to people about your business, making change in your business. Less is more. The less marketing you do, actually, the more effect you're going to get because you're focusing on the less stuff. So the less is most definitely more.
Yeah, good.
So thank you so much, and thank you those of you who have joined me live.
Thank you, Tracy.
Good. Yeah, thank you very much for coming live on the call, Tracy. Thank you for that question as well, Caroline. And if there's anything else, obviously you can pick Adele's brains during the day in the lunch breaks and the tea breaks, and see what else you need. But thank you very much. Vitality is the heart. I'm gonna have to get practice doing my heart. It's the heart. It's the heart of getting your business to play big. It's so important. So thank you very much, Adele. I'll see you on Friday. I'll see everyone else on Friday. Okay, great to connect with you all. Bye.
Take care.